It's 1977, and Genesis has already released 8 studio albums. Now, 1976 was a ridiculous year for Genesis. They released 2 albums that year.
They were A Trick of the Tail and Wind and Wuthering, Jenna.
That's right. That's right. So both of those were
Both
the first...
exquisite albums.
They are exquisite albums. I love them both.
Exquisite.
Both done in the wake of Peter Gabriel's leaving the band, of course.
There were 3 songs that they had recorded that they did not feel fit.
They didn't quite make the cut.
On Wind and Wuthering. And they decided to put them on an EP, their first EP.
Yep.
So they released Spot the Pigeon, which consists of Match of the Day, Pigeons, and Inside and Out.
Right. Released May 20th of 1977.
Yes.
So the EP was originally released in Canada and the UK. It wasn't officially released in America, but it was imported later on. They put it on CD in 1988 one time, and then it was released on vinyl on Record Store Day 2012.
Fantastic.
A notable day. So it's not...
Such journalistic integrity.
I know. I did my research. So, this wasn't maybe the wild runaway hit.
Yeah.
That no one expected it to be anyway.
Well,
I had heard Pigeons and Inside and Out on other releases. Match of the Day, I was not as familiar with. Mm-hmm. So it was really fun to have actually, we found this very recently. Mm-hmm. So I was happy to scoop it up. Always happy to have another Genesis album in the house. Mm-hmm. But, so you got the 2 shorter songs on the first side, and the second side, Inside and Out, which is a little bit of a longer song.
No, I was just thinking it's a 45, which this is the third time in my entire life that not looking at the thing and noticing that it's a 45, I put it on at the slower speed and was wondering why Phil Collins sounded like Ethel Waters.
But the funny thing is that the first song is the one that I don't know.
Yeah.
So it took a little bit where we're like, wait a minute.
It's like, no.
I don't think this is right.
No, that's not right.
And it wasn't. Yeah. But it was pretty funny.
Match of the day. No, it's not.
But, doing some research to find out what critics / normal folk think of this album, it's a little bit of a mixed bag, but I would say the consensus is that it's not too well regarded. No.
Just for, in case anyone is curious, the other 2 records, the 45, 33 problem, was the Minutemen and Pere Ubu. And strangely enough, Pere Ubu worked at the slower speed.
Yeah, it did. It was just a little bit more stretched out, but it was.
So in case if you have that particular Pere Ubu record, you could listen to it at a slower speed, and it still sounds good.
That's funny.
Minutemen, on the other hand, sounded terrible.
Yeah, that needs to be a little peppier.
Son of a father, son of a martyr. Yeah, don't do that. Anyway, yeah, it isn't. It's mixed. I would say there are definitely Genesis fans that do like it. They take it for what it is.
Yeah.
I think, it is. There is something, to me, quintessentially Genesis about this EP. Mm-hmm. They're a band that very much did what they felt like doing, and they could cover very odd topics. So, that the first song is about English soccer, second song is about, pigeons. And the third song is a story of, a man that's been, in prison, falsely accused.
Right.
Very different moods. Mm-hmm. The thing about Match of the Day, which is the weakest song on the album, I think Pigeons I think it's a phenomenal song.
I've always loved Pigeons.
And Inside and Out is also a phenomenal song. Match of the Day would be the weakest song, but it's, if you just take it for what it is.
Yeah.
Their musicianship, their songcraft, everything that they always have had
is there.
It's still there.
No, musically,
it's not meant to be an opus. It's meant to be a bouncy, hook-laden.
But literally, musically, especially that bridge section, when you take the elements, you've got that kind of like pulsing, like boomy, low bass line.
Yeah.
You've got like Phil doing this the
Phil.
awesome vocals that are just obviously a hallmark of Genesis, and you've got that like drive. It's just very funny because that little section is like it's so Genesis.
Little, bridge section, yes.
Yeah. So even on a song that maybe isn't one of their best, it's still so them.
It's also one of the more. I hate to use the word, because it's just slightly so, but it's one of their more Beatlesque sounding songs. It's not so much Beatles as Paul McCartney, I would say. There's a certain bouncy bass McCartney thing going on.
The bass line is a little bit more active than always on Genesis.
Also it sounds like a Blur song to me at times, which is also interesting.
It would be interesting to find out if, any of the Britpop people actually
this was the
really,
album.
Yeah, really like this album. This and Blondie.
Yeah.
And you have Britpop. There you go.
Well, you got Damon Pop anyway.
Yeah.
I know this song was left off of Archives Volume 2. Mostly it seems because Phil does not like the words.
Right.
It's interesting. They didn't really write about such like workaday subjects.
Unless
Genesis.
it was like part of a grander theme,
But
yeah, I don't care about that.
Rules here? There are no rules
There's
here.
no rules. No, I mean, first of all, what are lyrics?
I know. You don't need them.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Nah, just kidding.
I think Bob Dylan said that.
Yeah, he did. He was only thinking about the music.
Yeah.
And that I agree.
Mm-hmm.
And then so Pigeons is just such a ridiculously catchy, bouncy, infectious song. I don't like that people dismiss it as just a bouncy, catchy, infectious song.
I'm sorry I said that.
It's so fun. I love the melody. It really is a little bit of an earworm for me. Mm-hmm. I've always just really enjoyed it.
Two things. The repeating note throughout the song is, again, to me, very typically Genesis. Mm-hmm. It's a band that, they could do the most elaborate production. Tony Banks is an incredible instrumentalist, incredible musician. Steve Hackett's an incredible musician. They're all incredible musicians. Yes. They really are. And then, but ding, 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 you could just have a whole song where that one thing. And I love that kind of minimalist approach. It's also there's something very ballsy about that. You just have nothing to prove. And it also reminds me of Gracie Allen, and I forget which movie where she plays it's not a symphony, one note.
Yeah.
No, Symphony for One Finger. Yeah, it's the Symphony for One Finger. Something like that. I just think of that every time as well. But beyond that, this is a fantastic song, and Phil singing on it is fantastic. Mm-hmm. He really, all these songs, I know someone somewhere said that this is where he kind of comes into his own singing wise, or you can hear mm-hmm. it. And I dismissed that. I scoffed at that vigorously when I read that at first.
I remember.
I threw my back out. I scoffed so hard that I hurt myself. And but when he really considered that and listened to it,
it makes a little sense.
He because I feel like on Trick of the Tail and Wind and Wuthering, he doesn't want to step away from Peter Gabriel too much. He's still kind of trying to do that.
Well, because also on tour, he was doing those songs that,
yes.
he was
and he
trying
sang
to do
along
that.
And he also sang along with Peter Gabriel.
Always.
From the beginning. Yeah. But, he didn't want to deviate from that style too much. And more and more, he's loosening up. And by Duke, he's loose. Yeah, he's fully loose by Duke. And... But yeah, I guess you can kind of hear a little bit phrasing that's Phil. Yeah. Not, it's not, it's more him. It's got a little bit more of that R&B, that Motown
I think that,
kind of sound.
That's what Pigeons is.
A little bit more of a, because he does have a John Lennon quality. And
I
do hear that more even here, mm-hmm. which probably does contribute to me
the Beatley
saying
thing.
It's that
little
it
Beatley.
Sounds a tiny bit Beatlesque. But yeah, Pigeons is a wonderful song. It's got, humor, which Genesis always had.
Yes.
Even when you don't think it's funny at all.
And it's a very true song because, birds are A pest.
Yeah.
There's no lie.
No. If you live out in the country, I mean,
I want them out of here.
I'm like that woman in the Birds. I think you're the cause of all this. Neither of these songs would have fit on Wind and Wuthering, though.
No, but I could see them.
And
earlier, maybe.
Well, yeah, sure, but I would not have wanted them on Wind and Wuthering or Trick of the Tail.
No.
If they were on those records, I wouldn't probably be so forgiving.
Oh.
No,
the critic comes out.
Yeah. No, on those albums, those
albums are perfect.
Yeah, they would pale in comparison.
I wouldn't. Yeah.
But here, that's the thing. They knew that. They're enjoyable songs.
Yeah.
So they put them here.
I'm happy to have them here.
Yeah.
Right.
Here they're fine.
So yeah, exactly. So then on side B, you've got Inside and Out.
Yeah.
Which is about 6 minutes long, right? A little over 6 minutes.
Yeah.
And I guess the band would definitely say that this is the song that was the closest to actually making it onto the album.
And they did actually play it live.
And they played it
well,
live.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's not.
Well, I don't. It's not that it wouldn't have fit, but it just doesn't. The album doesn't need it.
But if you're gonna take someone off to put this guy on, I would say,
no, I don't know
no,
what you would have. I don't know what you could take off.
No, thank you.
Also, something interesting about, before we talk about this a little bit more, the production on this. If they actually were to have said Inside and Out, yeah, we're gonna put that on,
it would have been different.
I feel like would they have left it? They must have. It would. You feel like they would definitely have reworked it.
It would have been built up more.
Production wise.
Yeah.
Because
this is kind of spare.
It is a bit sparse, yeah.
Yeah. I like using both words.
Yeah, spare. This is a wonderful song. I don't know, they're all credited on this song. And, I think some people maybe assume it's more of a Steve Hackett led song. I'm not so sure.
I mean,
because there are parts that sound very Rutherfordy.
Yes.
Very Rutherfordy.
They can do the same, jingly guitar thing, very strummy.
It's one of the things that Genesis is kind of fascinating is that they all musically they were all in concord. I think.
Grape jelly. Is that what you mean?
No. Like Steve Hackett, you can't, it's so much so that you really can't tell, usually, you can't really tell who wrote something.
No.
Even, because with Steve Hackett Steve Hackett could write something that was more like Mike Rutherford, or more like, Tony Banks. You can tell sometimes.
But you won't see another song like this again.
No, even the lyrics are having it as like a dialogue.
Yeah.
Very much earlier Genesis.
And the guitar. I mean, the guitar really is very omnipresent on this.
Yeah, a 12-string sound. And, and the outro, which I think is, that kind of outro is one of the things that Mike and Tony kind of want to get away from. And they started drifting away from that. Right. Thinking that maybe that had become a little too formulaic. Right. Doing that.
Because, song part ends, extended instrumental outro. I mean, that's one of the things that I love about Genesis so much, is that they were so aware of not wanting to repeat themselves. They were always, changing and trying new things, and they did not want to do the same thing over and over again, So that just gave us all these amazing albums.
This EP, it's still so good. It's still, I mean, another band, these are their best things.
No, I'm so happy to have it.
Yeah.
I really am. Thank you so much for watching our brief discussion of Spot the Pigeon. Let us know what you think of this EP in the comments. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to States and Kingdoms, and we will see you next time.